Hey, what's up you guys? You're watching Team APS. I'm Paul, and in case you've been living under a rock, Konami just recently dropped a new ban list update, so a bunch of different stuff got banned, limited, semi-limited, and in this video, we're going to go over all of it. Also, speaking of things that Konami's doing, I'm actually lucky enough to be able to give away a San Diego Comic-Con Yu-Gi-Oh prize pack. Because for those of you who don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh is going to be at San Diego Comic-Con in a couple of weeks, and that's cool and all, but even if you're not able to go, you can actually still get the exclusive mat along with some other nice things that they're going to be having at that event. So the giveaway includes a mat that has Neos, Stratos, and Dark Magician on it, and also 5 packs of Rising Rampage when it releases, and 5 packs of the recently released Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge. If you want more information about that giveaway, I'll have all the information down in the description. So now let's hop into the ban list. I'm gonna add pictures beside me so you guys can see the changes for yourself because there's a lot to unpack here. So 2 cards got banned, Eclipse Wyvern and the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche. Now, Eclipse Wyvern was an interesting pick. I knew that something from the whole Chaos Thunder Guard Dragon deck had to go. It really was just a question of what. Some people say Saryuya, some people said Eclipse Wyvern, some people said a Guard Dragon should go, or the Black and White Dragons. Either way, something was probably going to happen, and so I think that Eclipse Wyvern's probably the correct choice here. It's the one that's not any type of hard once per turn, and of course it can search a number of different cards in that deck, and so it's just really ripe for abuse. This is one of those cards that, like, even unreleased years and years ago, you could kind of tell it probably would eventually find its way onto a ban list, and so it has. This is unfortunate if you're like a Chaos Dragons player, like one of the more classic ones, but I don't think that, that's a small price to pay. I think this is a really good hit for this deck. And then also the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche. So this is a little unfortunate because if you're a Phantom Knights player, you really had it rough these last, few ban lists. We lost like the Phantom Knights rank up Magic launch, and then now we lose Rusty Bardiche, so it's like, man, what are you supposed to do? All your best support cards just get hit. And that's just another case of a lower tier deck having to sort of suffer for the transgressions of a much stronger deck being Orcusts. This is good though, because Orcusts now can't just search 2 Fog Blades. I think that was the biggest draw that people had with that deck, was being able to get those 2 Fog Blades in addition to Orcust Crescendo, and also getting a pop when they summoned in Gersu. It just felt like it's a little bit much. So this does help to curb the overall power of the Orcust deck. And that's the only 2 cards that got banned, so nothing else was hit, and that's, probably for the better. You never want to see a ban list where a lot of stuff has to get banned, so that's okay. It also means that for the 5th ban list in a row, we've lost a Link Monster. Maybe that should tell you something about what Link Monsters mean. Anywho, limited cards. So we've got quite a lot of limited cards and a lot of different decks getting hit and stuff through this. So first there's Altergeist Multifaker. This is a hit that I didn't actually see coming. I know it's been hit in the OCG, which actually is going to be a bit of a recurring trend in this ban list. Is some OCG changes that we're getting too. But yeah, Multifaker's a weird one. I didn't think that Altergeists were like particularly overpowered or overwhelming or making that much of a dent in the game. But here's Multifaker, it's on the list. So Multifaker is the pretty crucial card in Altergeist. It gets you free summons whenever you use traps, and so that's really good. It advances the strategy along. With this card at 1, I really don't see Altergeist being able to survive very much in the highly competitive scene. You're out a starter card, or it's a 1. You can still search it with Personal Spoofing, for instance. But just not being able to consistently see this in your opening means that this deck has slowed down just immensely, and that's going to definitely be an issue for it moving forward. In addition to that, we also get some Black and White Dragon limits. I thought that they might have banned these cards, but limits are fine. So Collapse Serpent and Wyver Burster are both at 1. This is fine too. It really hurts the consistency of the Chaos Thunder Dragon deck. Honestly, between all of, Eclipse Wyvern and these guys going, plus a few other changes in this list, I think that deck has been sufficiently, it's been curbed pretty hard. These 2 cards will still be useful, I guess, in a Chaos Dragon deck, but, they can search each other once, and that's just kind of all that they're going to do. You won't be able to rely on drawing these things quickly enough to really make them a central part of the strategy. I'm okay with this, I don't mind. Now, Salamangreats got 2 hits. There's Salamangreat Gazelle and Salamangreat Circle, both going to 1. I actually thought that Gazelle might be the only card that got limited, but it seems like they are just, cutting, going for the throat. This is strange because, Salamangreats, it's a fairly new recent deck, and a lot of people thought that it was a good competitive deck. Not expensive, so easy to get, pretty easy to learn how to play, but not overwhelmingly strong. Doesn't matter though, I mean, these two cards are gone. I have zero attachment to the Salamangreat deck. I've played it myself, it's alright, now it's not so alright. It's going to be rough. You'll have to rely on something like Signet Mining, which is a neg and also doesn't synergize as well like Salamangreat Circle does, because Circle is a Salamangreat card, so you get a little bit more like synergy with combos. I don't think that this deck's going to be able to survive at the top tables with these two combined hits. I just don't think it's strong enough. I still think that it will be a pretty decent rogue or budget option for people, so that's okay. At least they didn't have to ban anything. Also, Tempest, Dragon Ruler of Storms. It's back. That's crazy. So that's another OCG change that we're actually getting, and I don't mind it at all. I'm totally here for it. Maybe over time we can slowly get the Dragon Rulers back after a few successful ban lists of them being around. Tempest is probably the weakest and least abusable of them, so that's not really an issue. The deck that comes to mind the most for me with this is, I guess, like the Harpy deck. They can probably use this card like to decent effect, maybe some more. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm like leaving out some big win deck, but that's what comes to mind for me. I'm interested in seeing how people use this, especially because the Guard Dragons can make some use of this card. So like, I don't know, we'll see. Anywho though, Daigusto Emerald is another, in the theme of wind monsters coming back, is also back to 1. So this card got banned right after the big Zodiac format where it just did a lot of like recycling and stuff like that. I think this is fine. I don't think that Daigusto Emerald's too broken to exist right now. I'm sure somebody will find some FTK or whatever with it, and then it might just get banned again. But hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't think that this card in a vacuum is all that OP or busted. So, maybe this is meant to just be like normal monster support or just give us back, some Xyz monsters. Who knows? I'm okay with it though. I don't see any immediate problems with this type of thing. So Sky Striker multi-roll gets limited. I was actually hoping this card would get banned, but I'm okay with it getting limited. Limited's fine. Multi-roll being the, commonly compared to Spellbook of Judgment. It's the crucial card for Sky Striker's grind game. If it wasn't this, it was going to be, of course, Engage, but I think that multi-roll is a fair hit. They still get 1, so that does mean that you're going to have to deal with it somehow. But if this card gets banished, then it's totally gone. But also, if it gets, just like hit by a Twin Twisters or something, then they're going to be pretty hard pressed to actually recover it and like keep using it. So I'm glad. This means it's a less consistent card, and I have no complaints about that. That said, I actually still think that Sky Strikers, just with this being the only hit that they took on this ban list, will actually be able to still compete, but it'll be weaker, and that's okay with me. So we also lost Terraforming and Metaverse to 1. So I feel like this is going to be something that probably will bother some players because a lot of people are big fans of Terraforming. With it going to 1, you get kind of an indirect hit to any deck that uses a field spell. So, that's like your True Draco deck, that's your Subterror deck, that's your Invoked deck. All of them lose a fair amount of consistency at this point. I mean, Terraforming was at 2 before, and now it's at 1. So you really have to just kind of rely on hard drawing field spells, or if your deck has a way of searching its field spell, then you're fine. But that's not a problem for me. I've never really been a big fan of how strong some of the field spells have gotten, how a lot of them are just blatant, pluses and search cards. So, and of course Metaverse I think was more of a Mystic Mine hit than just a hit on field spells, but together it's definitely a hit on field spells. This means that the Mystic Mine deck can't reliably use something like Lilith to search out Trap Trick or this card. It's a little bit less consistent. I'm interested in seeing where this goes and how this unfolds. Again, I don't think it's something that everyone's going to be happy with, but I can live with it. And then finally, Trickstar Light Stage gets put to 1. Now, this is weird. Trickstars weren't doing loads and loads in the format. It's kind of like Altergeist, where I feel like they just, the decks maybe have been around for so long, just the themes, because they have technically existed since like 2017. Maybe they're just trying to filter stuff out. They've got new archetypes coming along. They don't want Trickstars and Altergeist randomly topping at events. I don't hate Trickstars, so I think it's a little bit, it feels a little lame, because in addition to losing Light Stage to 1, it's also Terraforming is at 1, so That's really just that sucks. Maybe they just want you to play the other Trickstar Field spell. I don't know. So that's all for the limited cards. It's quite a lot, and now we've got semi-limited cards. Ironically, I made a video about like, is there a point to the semi-limited list? And Konami apparently listened, so we've got a number of cards getting added here. Cast Emperor Dragon Envoy of the End. I mean, you know, the errated version's not great. I don't think this makes a huge difference. Danger, Nessie, Jackalope, and Tsuchinoko. So these are the big ones. The you know, the partners in crime, whatever. I had no clue how they were going to deal with the Danger Engine. I think this might be the best way to go about it, at least for now. Because, you know, some people said it should be Nessie that gets hit. Some people said it should be Jackalope that gets hit. Some people said Tsuchinoko even, although I don't think it's as good as the other two. But by putting them all at 2, this basically reduces the consistency of the cards, but still makes Danger at least like a playable deck on its own. This means that committing to the engine is a little bit riskier, I would say, because it's still a total of 6 cards if you're running the good Dangers, but that's being these 3. So, I don't know. I think that it will help curb, you know, just some of that ultra consistency that they add to things like Orcusts and things like Chaos Thunder Dragons. So, we'll see how this goes. I'm really curious how this goes. I hope that this reduces the prices of the cards, but that's a different story. I'm okay with this. I think for a start, if it still proves to be an issue, maybe they'll have to get limited, but I wouldn't want for like 3 different cards from a new TCG exclusive archetype to have to get limited like that. So, good job, Konami, on just kind of playing it safe and just doing this type of thing instead. We also get Ether the Heavenly Monarch, so a Monarch card returns. People have been asking for this for a while, and I'm okay with it. I think that it's a card that's kind of crept out a little bit, but it can still be useful for a Monarch player. Elemental Hero Stratos to 2, that's kind of a big deal. I think a lot of people are going to be super happy with that one as well. It's a card that, you know, it's a fan favorite. People like heroes. We just got Vision Heroes. Hero decks get a little bit better. This card is the linchpin of any hero variant, so I'm okay with this. I don't think it's really too bad. Inzektor Dragonfly, huge boon for Inzektors. It has been years. They really deserve this card. I want to see Inzektors be able to do something, and I don't think that they're going to be like dominating the meta or anything, but you know, thank goodness you get like one of the better cards finally at a usable point on the ban list, so that's great. Performate's Damage Juggler, whatever. Shrit, Strategist the Necroz. So this is a small help for Necroz decks. Again, I don't think this just like blows them up and like makes them incredible, but it still helps. A little bit of consistency is always nice. Easier ritual summons is always nice. People wanted this, so it's happening. And Royal Tribute is a help for Gravekeepers. This is a card that was very strong at a time, not that big of a deal today. Honestly, Gravekeepers need all the help they can get. And then finally, we get a few cards off the ban list. So, Cleafort Scout, yes. Big fan of this. Cleaforts really did need this card just off. They have struggled so much in Master Rule 4. I mean, Cleafort Scout to 3 isn't still even going to necessarily make them great. They still can't use Electromite. They still have to deal with, you know, Unending Nightmare and Twin Twisters and all these other cards that just destroy Pendulums. But at least they had this thing back, and that's fine by me. Luster Pendulum, I don't know why this thing was on semi-limited. I said that a couple of weeks ago, and so I'm glad that it's a 3. Don't think it's going to make a difference. Trish, don't think it's going to make the difference. No one's going to be running 3 Trish in their extra deck. Dark Hole, never thought I'd see the day, but here's the day. You know, 3 Dark Holes. Don't think people are going to really be using it. Monster Gate, if you're like an Infernoids player, maybe this is good news. Otherwise, I don't think it's a card that really means much. Rekindling, this is kind of a big deal. I don't think, there's a time when, you know, Lavals and stuff were like, there was some fear that this card can make them completely busted and crazy OP. Not so much the case anymore. Unless I'm like, you know, forgetting something obvious, I don't think this card's gonna actually make a huge difference. Super Poly to 3, I'm fine with it. Doesn't matter. I mean, like this, it's, people complain about this card sometimes. I don't think that there's any issues with it. I mean, yeah, it's searchable, but you lose a lot of advantage in doing it. If you have to like make an extra deck that's like catered towards using this card, then you're, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. And Solemn Judgment to 3, which it's one of those things where like if you played Yu-Gi-Oh like years ago, this is something you never thought you'd see happen, but it's happening, and I don't think it's really gonna be played regardless. So, you know, maybe we'll see Solemn Warning come next. I don't know. And that's the ban list. So, it's a lot to unpack. As far as my early, you know, thoughts on what it means, every top deck's been hit. There's definitely some winners and some losers. I will probably make some videos over the course of the week, just going over kind of some good decks to play this format. Some decks really didn't get hit terribly hard. I'd say Orcusts are still quite playable, quite good. I still think the Sky Strikers are going to be in a pretty playable spot. I think that Salamangreats and Danger Thunder Guard Dragons, not so much. I think they're definitely, curbed. Altergeist and Drakestars, that really blows. And yeah, we've still got a couple of new sets coming out on the way. We just got Battles of Legend, which none of the stuff in there seems like it's going to change the meta much, but like Rising Rampage introduces Tinyi. We're getting like a new spin-off set soon. It's an interesting kind of open time in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a good ban list. I think a lot of people like ban lists like this. It makes more people interested in playing, so that can only be a good thing, right? Alright, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think of it all in the comments. It's a new format. It starts now. Crazy things are going to be happening, and it's all good by my terms. So, yeah, if you want to enter that giveaway to win the San Diego Comic-Con prize pack, including a mat, some packs of Rising Rampage, and some packs of Battles of Legend, then check out the information down in the description. I'll let you guys know all about it. And without further ado, I will see you guys in the next one. Pass turn.